What's up? What's good? What's happening?
Hey.
Welcome to the King and Me Show. I'm one half of this thing, King.
Hey, y'all. It's me, Michelle. How y'all doing?
And we are back, Bizak in the building with the King and Me Show, which is a live stream done every Monday at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern, in which we showcase a real outlook on a healthy relationship. Real being relatable,
entertaining,
accountable,
and loving.
Y'all, we done did a lot of traveling.
Ow!
And we got some more traveling to do. But you know what? If you're not living life, then life's not living for you. I don't know if that made sense, but I tried. And we just gonna keep going so that y'all can let that one sink in.
Yeah, give you time to digest that. That's what we gonna do.
Today's live stream is streamed across multiple platforms. We are on Twitch, which we got a sub over there, y'all. Yay!
Do the Twitch. Hey!
We're streaming on Facebook and YouTube as well. Also co-streaming on Perry Productions. Shout out to the homie for allowing us to showcase this love, black love, on his platform as well. So we give him a salute. And if there's a like button, look, help us out on the algorithm. It don't cost you nothing but, what, a second?
Pretty much, yeah.
Maybe 0.5 seconds to mash that like button. And if you're feeling froggy, share it. Let's combat the narrative that people out there dating and trying to get to know each other isn't as bad as social media makes it seem. Because, you turn the corner, there's another YouTube couple like Queen of Kings out there destroying each other very publicly. And that's something that you'll never see us do as I don't believe in it. I don't believe in arguing. Michelle and I have talked about this.
And I appreciate that. Like, I didn't grow up seeing couple arguments, right? So, like, I'm not used to it. I'm not familiar with it. However, I watch television. So, you would see, like, those petty disagreements and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I never saw arguments per se. So, yeah. I'm not for it.
And just like what you said, petty disagreements. Mm-hmm. I believe, and to date, in our under 2-year relationship, that we have had some disagreements.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt about that. We've had some disagreements, but we're able to communicate those disagreements in a loving and respectful manner. And maybe one day we'll have an episode dedicated just to that. Like, how do we get through our differences? Like, really, what are the techniques when we break it down that we both use to process and get through our disagreements? And I'll close my side on this part by saying this. You are going to have disagreements with somebody, especially if you're living with somebody or you're choosing to do life with somebody. It's how you navigate those disagreements and differences that matter. And I believe you and I have put some things in place to practice discussing our disagreements and getting through them without disrespecting the other person.
Right. And that's big.
And if there hasn't been a moment that's happened, we'll talk about it offline and then we'll work through it and then go from there.
Oh, you love me.
First of all, let me start off by saying you looks good, girl.
Oh, thank you, baby.
You looks good. Thank you. Thank you. I'm over here sweating and glistening, trying to make sure we got everything for the show. Or
because I make you hot, baby.
Who we got in the building? Let's see if we have anybody in the building. I thought I saw some comments earlier here.
You did. You saw the one and only the best mod.
Hey, we got Tarika in the building. She said, "Evening, King and Queen. How y'all doing?" Hey, look, we good. We're recovering from the topic that we're going to be talking about today, which was a family reunion, specifically her paternal side family reunion. It's only the third one that she's been to, right? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
That's included like a big, like specifically for a family reunion like that. And we gonna talk about it because there was a lot that happened.
It was a lot. It was a weekend of fun and excitement and learning. There was a lot of learning.
Absolutely. And a lot of different personalities. Shout out to Big Marv. Hey, Marv, if you watching, man, you cool people, man. I'm gonna start calling you Uncle Marv too. You are dope. And she said, I'm here to support my favorite. Oh, thank you.
Aww.
We are her favorite couple.
I mean, we are sexy. Thank you, Sarika.
I like it. Hey, look, we have a couple of people in the building, so let's get right
Let's
to
get
it.
into it.
So we always start with a couple of different things. This is the last Monday for the month of July.
Ooh.
Next Monday when we live, your boy will be 40 years old.
40. Thank you, Lord.
My birthday is this upcoming Sunday.
Yeah.
I will be the next decade years older and
still fine.
Thank you. That hit different when you just said it just now. And we can announce it. We ain't big enough that we don't need to worry about safety and security.
No, we still do. So just say, we're going to A.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we already said it.
We did?
Yeah.
Can't get this memory.
We're going to a beach.
Well, it's funny.
And that's how I want to spend my 40th birthday. Initially, I wasn't even going to do anything. I didn't want to do anything. But then someone over here suggested that it's a milestone birthday and you should do something. So we are.
Did I say that?
I said someone over here.
Must be somebody behind me. So with that, do you prefer the beach or the mountains?
The beach for sure. The beach for sure. There's just way too much relaxing that I can do at the beach. Some people do relaxing stuff in the mountains. They like to get away from people or whatnot. And typically at beaches, unless it's a private beach, you're with other people. But I still like the sound of the water and the waves and the birds. So I choose the beach. How about you?
I choose the beach because I don't do animals. So like snakes, bears, lions, tigers. Oh my, I don't do any of that. And they typically are at the mountains. Like remember when we went to the cabin back in November?
Yes.
I loved it. It was a beautiful experience.
It was.
But we know that them first 2 hours, I was walking around that place, opening every single drawer, making sure there wasn't no little creatures in there waiting to be found or discovered or anything like that. It was a wonderful experience. Absolutely breathtaking. But I don't have to do that at the beach.
No doubt.
All right. Can you be counted on to do what you say you'll do?
I laugh because the answer is yes. May not be when I said I was going to do it.
Come on.
But yes, if I say that I'm going to do something, you can count on me to do it. I would also press to say, give me a deadline or a time so that I can fit it within that time parameter. Otherwise, I'm a busy guy, so I'm just going to sequence it in whenever I can, but I'll still do it for you.
All right. Same thing for me. I'm forgetful. So I'm one of those people where you have to give me deadlines. So because of my ADHD, I procrastinate on everything I do. And then on top of that, I'm forgetful. So you have to give me a deadline and say, Michelle, this is absolutely when I need this by, because I'm going to do it right before it's done. Don't give me something last minute. Like, your urgency is not my emergency. And I'll get it done. But if I say I'm going to do it, I'm pretty much going to live up to it. As long as it's not attending an event. Attending an event can most likely get me to back out.
Yes. Yes. If I ever get out the door, I'm good. If I get to the door, it's still iffy. I cross the threshold, I'll be there. But it's actually touching the door, opening that bad boy, and taking just 1 foot out. If I've never got to that part, it's flip a coin to see if I'm going to actually show up.
Right, exactly. All right, so I kind of went out of sequence, but what's the craziest thing you've ever done while drunk?
Oh, man. I mean, I was too drunk to remember. So it involved me waking up, not knowing where I was at, where my clothes were at, and
what kind of party was you having?
And then discovering that some other stuff had went down to where an investigation happened. I got called in to answer questions, but I didn't know anything because I started drinking early and basically had no other memories of just what was going on. So this is when I was in the military.
Yeah, I remember you telling me the story.
Something happened, not quite sure. Won't get into it here, but I told the truth as far as, yep, I was drinking. This is who I knew was there. And the only reason why I snitched is because we discussed, hey, let's insulate ourselves. Let's name ourselves. Obviously, if they're calling us, they know something. So us three, let's name ourselves as, yeah, we were there. This is who I know else was there. But to anybody else, we don't know them folks. So all three of us kind of got off easy. And everybody else that lied, because there were pictures. This was like pre-smartphones the way that they are now, back in 2002, 2003. And there was still photos and stuff of people that were there, but people told me, that was like, man, because like I was like muscular from football and things back then, and apparently there needed to be 4 people that carried my dead weight from me being passed out from the 3rd floor of like apartment style dorms down to the 1st floor of our building, like across the campus.
Meanwhile, craziest thing I've ever done while drunk is drive, because
That's crazy too.
So I'm sober. I have been 7 years sober, and I recognized something in myself, so I stopped drinking. And I would probably say that that was the craziest. Like, I've never done anything. Like, I distinctly remember my 26th birthday as the year that I got severely inebriated. Like, we pre-gamed, we rode in a limo to go to DC to go to a burlesque show that I never saw because I was drunk downstairs throwing up. Like, it was a whole thing. And I just remember series of birthdays where I was just inebriated. But that's it.
All right. Let's acknowledge some of the comments here. Tarika said that she prefers the beach for shiggity. We got Mr. Legacy over on Perry Productions in the building. Said, I'm just joining the live. Hey, Mr. Legacy, we appreciate you tuning in. If you hadn't hit the like button, hit the like button here. And don't know if this is your first time watching, but we hope you stay for as long as you can and come back anytime that you can. We're live every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Tarika said, I don't drink or smoke. Have you ever drunken or smoked, drinked or smoked in your lifetime? Yes, I corrected it right at the end. Have you ever drinked or smoked in your lifetime? She seems like the healthy type to where person, I don't think she would have ever did it. I used to drink because it was like the it thing to do as a young guy in the military. Looking back at it, it's stupid. And I have smoked because I was just curious and realized I didn't like it.
So, speaking of family, the Jamaican side of my family, so the maternal side of my family, we view alcohol differently. So, I had my first sip of alcohol when I was about like 6 years old. It was champagne, and it was what it was. Like, I was drinking it. I had no problems with it. My family didn't care. You know, we have 2 classic Jamaican beverages or drinks that have alcohol in them. So we have sorrel, and then we have carrot drink, and alcohol is typically put in both of those. So I would drink those for holidays and stuff like that, and everyone would always, be okay with me getting the drink with alcohol in it, not necessarily the non-alcoholic version. No one cared. And then I remember when I was like teenager, every year we would go to Fridays, TGI Fridays for my birthday. And there was always one thing that I wanted, which was specifically why I wanted to go to TGI Fridays. I would always want a mudslide. And a mudslide is alcoholic. It's watered down alcohol, but it's still alcohol nonetheless. So my mom would order it, and she or my sister would always take a sip, make the face, and then slide it to me and say, I don't know how you drink these things. And I'd be like, well, watch me. and just drink it. But that's how it was in my household growing up. Okay. Introduced to liquor at an early age. So by the time I turned 21, legal drinking age is 21. By the time I turned 21, it's funny. I don't think I ever told you. My 21st birthday dinner was at TGI Fridays. I felt I owed it to them.
You did.
Because I used to drink every year there when I was underage. I was like, I feel like you should get my 21st.
That's exactly why you said that you did it too. It was like, being that I have drunken under
Every
21,
year on my birthday
I
here.
might as well come here now that I actually can. So yes, he did
But that
tell me
was
that.
fun.
TGI Friday. When's the last time that you even been to TGI Fridays?
Oh man, it's been a while because also when I used to go there, I ate meat. And I would get the buffalo wings and I would get, my drink and everything like that, to the point where they were one of the first clubs that like birthday clubs that I joined to be able to get like free stuff on my birthday. So I have to say it's probably been a while because they're one of the restaurants that I didn't see them offering vegan options as early and as readily as the other places were offering. So I don't go there that much. Plus I don't drink, and all I have are alcoholic memories of being in TGI Friday. So the love isn't the same. And it's nothing against them. Just I've grown.
Nice. All right, good deal. Good deal. Let's see if we have any other comments here before we get into tonight's live stream. Being that we don't have any comments, let's get into tonight's live stream.
All right, bet. Let's go.
So we attended our first family reunion together as a couple, along with our daughter Castle. And I chose my words specifically.
I just had to laugh.
And it was an experience.
Mm-hmm.
So to set this up, when you knew about it, you asked me very early on because it required some planning on your part. Like there was a financial thing that had to go in on it.
Yeah.
And you make that clear at the beginning. So we talked about it. I was able to make it work on my side, but we asked because there was some coordination that had to be done with Castle to see if she could come, or if not, we would have to work something out as far as the custody arrangement, because it wouldn't have been my weekend with her.
Right.
But she's with me throughout the weekday over the school break. So did the coordination and and got everything set up. So it was going to be me, you, and Castle, and it was within a 3.5 hour drive for us. So that was a bonus for us too.
Because that saved us a lot of money.
That saved us a lot of money, because it would have been something would have had to give. It would have been a harder sell to do that, plus try to do something for my birthday. Plus, I'm looking at my budget for Castle going back to school, and just everything. So it would have been and your birthday is a little bit after that too. So it would have been a harder sale without giving up something to be able to attend and go. Now, I would have told you, because I wasn't planning on doing nothing for my birthday anyway.
Oh, yeah. You would have been like, well, let's forego your birthday. And I would have been like, well, that's a hard pass because it's your 40th birthday.
But we could always make it up for something down the line.
Like, for example, my family reunion is every 2 years. Yes. Which means, Lord willing, next family reunion, which will be again in July, it'll be the year I'm turning 40.
Correct.
Because I'm younger than you.
Yes. And sexy.
Thank you, baby. So, we already know that that's going to be in Spartanburg. So that's just something that we plan for. We had a year to work it out, and I wanted you there. But it was also very important for me for you to be able to not be sitting at home for your 40th birthday.
I would have been all right.
You would have been. I would have planned something anyway.
No, I wouldn't have wanted you to plan anything. Say, King, what do you want to do for your birthday? Kick my feet up, maybe get a foot rub, play some college football, and cater to me by giving me a bib, bringing me some food, so I don't have to get up out the chair except to use the restroom. That is a perfect day for me. And maybe some stuff later on. Turn off the lights. Click. That's all I'm saying.
We had somebody join that I'd like you to acknowledge.
Let's see. Let's check the comments here. Shout out to my homeboy over on YouTube, Will84. Will K84. He's what's allowing us to be able to stream over on Perry Productions. He said, "What's happening? What's good? On my way to a doubleheader for softball. Hey, smack it out the park, brother. Hey, and whenever you do it, hit that yurt." Hey, man. Again, thanks for tuning in while you're on your way to your softball game, Peter. And I need to holler at you tomorrow, so I'll catch up with you. He said, "That's a great concept, King. we can talk about it. This is Lean Muscle Wear J. So that's Will K84's brother. Shout out to him. And I appreciate you for tuning in as well. Man, we got everybody pulling up.
Aww.
And you know, whether y'all in here for a minute, 10 minutes, or the entire time, we appreciate just engaging with us and putting in the comment as we talk about things. So, yeah, now, foot rub, college football, Xbox, bring me food. I'll have a little bell. That means that I require service. But I appreciate you thinking about me at least and wanting to make it special, because it just shows me that you love me and that you care. So, yeah.
It's funny because I say we have to go all out for your birthday. Like, your birthday's coming. I want to take you to dinner. I want to do all the things. I have all these surprises in store for you, which you can know nothing about, even though for 2 out of 3 of the birthday surprises, I am giving you hints for, because one is a gag gift. And I said one is, a more serious gift. Mm-hmm. So I'm giving you daily hints for those 2 gifts. The third gift is an absolute 100% surprise, and you will know nothing about it until Saturday night when we're at dinner. Like, nothing. You get no clues, no hints at all for that third gift.
Okay.
It's funny because I say all this to you, but I do not in any way, shape, or form want the same treatment for my birthday. Like, by no means, like, this is me saying it live on air. I want nothing to do with any of the things that I'm doing. So if anyone is aware of the things that I have done for King's birthday, understand, hear me clearly when I say I want nothing like this in return.
Wait, so who have you told? Who can I lean in their ear and offer them money to find out what's going on?
No one is going to snitch on me.
Lies.
Not a lie.
There's enough money that can convince anybody to change their mind.
Not one person would snitch on me.
Okay. All right. Might have to test this one out. Now, were you nervous about me meeting your paternal side family reunion before going there?
Not nervous. Like, I'm not at all. I don't feel like you're the type of person who embarrasses other people. So I was no way, shape, or form nervous about you meeting them. I will say one thing that I was just a little bit like preparing myself for. The paternal side of my family is very religious. Like, I think you got that in like the first 5 minutes of being around my family. And I recognize that you were not. So, like, I didn't want you to be uncomfortable, but no, I wasn't nervous about you meeting my family. Because I've met that side of my family, and the people that I'm closest to, I know them, you've talked to them or engaged with them through social media in some way, shape, or form. Or, even like my cousin Nettie and Aaron and them, like, you've met them. So I wasn't nervous for you to meet them. I just wanted you to have fun.
Yeah, and that I did.
That was it. That was my biggest thing.
That I did. Shout out to Pete. Pete over on Facebook said he could get a walker for my birthday. And then he also said that I can't afford him and that's facts for supporting you and your side of this conversation. I don't know, Pete.
No one's going to snitch on me. What?
Hey, oh my goodness. We got a celebrity in the building. Shout out to Maya Jade.
Hi.
Over on YouTube said, hey, what's good? Showing love for Indiana. Hey, Amaya, I appreciate you popping in. And you know what? I'm supporting you. We're supporting you. She don't know you like that, but I do. I'm supporting you. Love what you got going on. Keep balling out in these streets there, young lady. And make yourself and your folks proud. I'm rooting for you.
Oh, hey, I don't know you, but I'm rooting for you too.
And she's rooting for you as well because I'm rooting for you. Now, the religious part, yes. And that stuff doesn't make me uncomfortable because I grew up.
Yeah.
And people that I'm still connected to and folks on my side of the family are as well. And for the most part, I think most of my family know where I'm at with that, right? Like, for example, when it was like, let us pray. out of respect, I'll bow my head.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm not praying or being a part of the participatory thing that occurs with the prayer. And
I would say Nettie prayed. Like Nettie, she prayed.
Yes.
She prayed down heaven, I'm telling you.
And Counsel's the same way. So like Counsel will bow her head as well out of respect, understanding the significance, but we're bowing our head out of respect, right? And I don't know if any other body else was or wasn't, because I wasn't looking up to see who else was not, but like the religious stuff wasn't anything that would have scared me off or scared me away. And I'm just gonna say it right here on the air. Everybody was so welcoming. To add to that, though, Castle was severely overwhelmed by the amount of welcoming and loving that had occurred. Now, you told me first, like early on when you and I got to know each other, as we were talking to your Aunt Gigi, like, hey, look, like Aunt Gigi is gonna love up on you, and you're gonna get that loving, and it is what it is.
There's nothing you can do about it.
But you're the same way as well. And that kind of it was
the truth comes out.
Well, it was interesting because you showed that early on too. Like, you don't know how to halfway love on somebody, right? So when you made it up in your mind that, okay, I like this man. This man has a child. I also like this man's child. Like, that was how you came
that was
to that.
Was my line of thinking. Yeah.
So you treated Castle with that same love as well, and you loved on her early on too, but it was as an individual.
And so the funniest thing, and like this is something that I've wrestled with over the last 10 or so years. There's something to be said about genetics, because I wasn't raised with the paternal side of my family. I didn't grow up with them. I didn't reconnect with them until December 2009 and the beginning part of 2010. So we're talking about 14 and a half years that I've had connections with this family. And I'm almost 38. So we're talking the majority of my life, they were not a part of it. But yet there's so many similarities. Like, the core essence of who I am is reflected in the core essence of who they are. And I didn't grow up with them. And I'm not around them that often. Like, I see them once every 2 years at best. And, I engage with them on social media. But that's my family. Like, the blood that runs through them runs through me. And it's amazing how that can still be possible, despite the fact that, I was never around them. So that is very true. I am that type of person. They're those people. And I told Castle, as we were like within 5 minutes, probably 10, 15 minutes of the place, that my family doesn't believe in preceding words. So we don't believe in step. Like, there's no stepmother, there's no stepfather, there's no stepsister.
And I'm the exact opposite. I like the distinction because it helps me know who I'm talking to.
Yeah, we don't have half sister, half brother, mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law. We don't have those terms on the paternal side of my family. On the paternal side of my family, it's, well, that's my cousin, and that's my auntie, and that's my niece, and that's my nephew, that type of stuff. That's my sister, that's my brother. This is Mamala or something like that, for like mom in love or something like that. But we don't have those other terms on that side of the family. Like, within 5 minutes of seeing you, my cousin Phoenix had a name for you. And what's that name?
Light-skinned cousin.
Exactly. Like, she had a name for you. There was no, oh, this is Michelle's boyfriend. No, that's literally not how you were introduced to most people. Most people introduce you as like, this is Michelle's man, or this is cousin, or this is light-skinned cousin.
Got called fiance.
You got called fiance. Like, those were the terms that you were introduced with. It was never, cousin by marriage or anything like that. And I remember even when I first met my sister-in-love, like, I call her Sil. I call her Sil for sister-in-love, okay. SIL. And that's what she's always been, either that or my sister. but we just don't believe in those titles over on that side of the family. So I've always loved it. I've always thought it was beautiful. It just is what it is. And at every family reunion this year, we had 4 people, but at every family reunion, there's at least one person who is a friend of the family who was not biologically related to any of us, and that's cousin.
That's cool.
You there, your family, like point blank period. Like there's no other way around it. If you were in this presence, in our presence, you are family, and that's just the way it is.
I'm gonna tell y'all something. This is on topic but off topic that made me go, "That's cool." So, one of her cousins is the voice of Augustus Cole off of the Gears of War video game. Lester, and I forget the last name. I think it's Lester Spates or something like Spate.
I think it's pronounced Spate or Spite, but I can spell it.
So he's the voice of the black dude from Gears of War. He's also got a couple of different acting credits. And where I remember him from, and if you were born in the early 80s, you will have remembered these commercials. The terrible Terry Tate office linebacker Reebok commercials. So I thought that was pretty cool to see him. And they were showing the videos of their past reunions and things like that. And I'm looking like, why is this dude familiar? But when I asked her, she's like, I don't know who he is. I'm like,
because I'm 2 years
younger
than baby.
You youngin'. You young tenderoni thing, you.
Tenderoni?
Yeah.
You have someone who popped in the chat for you.
Let's see who popped into the chat over here. I done pressed buttons on my phone. We should get like a monitor or something.
We should. Like AI controlled with our fingers.
Yo.
I know, that's why I'm like, I wanted you to acknowledge it.
Shout out to Edward. Matt said he called me by my born name. It's all good. Matt, we ain't spoken a while. I done changed my name to King, man. Hence the title, The King and Me. But it's good to see you, man. I appreciate you popping in. Matt was somebody that I went to high school with. Cool dude. I think I might have seen him once since we've graduated. Okay. But man, it's good to see you, brother. Glad you're doing all right, man. Or at least hope you're doing all right. He might be missing a leg, and I don't know about it. Did I just put that on him? My bad.
We rebuke that, Lord. We rebuke that.
Now, so I was saying that Castle was a little bit overwhelmed. So when she was with us and people spoke to her, she did speak. But outside of that, she was a reclusive for most of it. And you and I both engaged with her to ask her how she was doing, just to make sure that she was okay. And we have some differences in thoughts.
We do.
On the totality of how she is. But it both comes from a place of just, understanding her and just trying to make sure that she's okay. Now, with what you and I talked about, we don't have to get into it on the live stream. For the feedback that I gave to you, do you still feel strongly about your version of what you think?
Well, as all women before me, I doubled down. No, like, I think that there's just a level of things that I can't understand. Like, we had a great conversation with our cousin Phoenix, and Phoenix kind of explained things and helped put things in a different perspective for me. And I'll say this, we grew up in an era, because even though we're not the same age, we're around the same age, and we have Southern roots in our family. We grew up in the era where a child always speaks to an adult that an adult family member tells you to speak to, right? We always do that. And then we always embrace said family member or said adult if our family member tells us to. So you're walking down the street with your mom, and your mom sees a friend that she knows. She'll say, baby, this is Uncle Cleophas, and go ahead and give you will say, hey, Uncle Cleophas. You'll make eye contact. It'll be audible and something that we can all hear. acknowledgement of Uncle Cleophas. And then if mama says, give Uncle Cleophas a hug, you
You
gave
also give
Uncle
a hug,
Cleophas
yeah.
a hug, because that's the generation that we were raised in.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of my family, both sides, that's how we were raised. This newer generation was not raised like that. Like, we took that and we said, I don't want my child just hugging anybody. And,
Yep.
we did that. And while I respect that, I also feel like that has taken away a level of respect for elders. And that's just a generational thing, right? Like, I don't look at today's generation of youth and feel like they have an inherent respect for their elders. I don't see that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's because, again, and this is something we talked about last week, I believe, or somewhere else in some other capacity, we have overcompensated for the things that our parents did to us, and that's negatively impacting the next generation. And I think telling them or teaching them to have that inherent respect for someone older is something that this generation lacks. And I believe that is our fault. Like, we made a mistake by not teaching that generation inherent respect. And I also think, and this is personal opinion, that because of COVID, we have seen a shift where young people don't know how to interact with people in general, like peers, the generation right before them. So, like, their parents and stuff like that. And then definitely older generations, our young people don't know how to engage with them. Like, and it's not even, I just don't know how to socialize in general. So we see people shutting down. Like, I look at my nieces and I'm like, they don't say hi audibly to people. Like, it's like, hi. And like, you can barely hear them. I have a soft voice and it takes a lot for me to overpower, but that doesn't dictate what my attitude or feeling is towards someone. My niece will just be like, hi. And is that like the lowest register for anyone to even possibly hear? And then, like, there's no head movements or gestures or anything. So you definitely can't tell what they're saying. And that's something that I see a lot. So I say all of that to say that I still struggle within myself in processing how today's generation acknowledges other people. So yes, there were many moments where I was just like, but I don't think you're being necessarily respectful in how, you're speaking to an elder. And there were many times where I was just like, I don't get it. Like,
And let me add to that, because
yeah.
it sounded like you wrapped that point up good, because I don't want to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Okay, so 2 specific instances. Let's highlight by saying this. Castle's 17.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about that is Castle don't look 17 because she's itty bitty. So everybody was, I thought they're 12, 13 years old. All right. Castle has a speech impediment. She stutters. Her fluency was the worst that I've ever seen since knowing her. And when people were coming up to her and asking her what her name is, she was struggling to say her name because my daughter has a speech impediment. I do as well, but I've had years of speech therapy to overcome my stutter. It's still there. I'm a covert stutterer. I hide it well. Castle was one of, there might have only been less than 8 kids total.
Yes, and there was at least one that was her age.
And only one that was her age, and that was a male. All of the other young kids that were there were young women, young females or girls. And so she didn't have anybody her age that she could maybe connect with and play games with and things like that. But I made an observation at the all-white banquet on Saturday. Did you see any of the other girls besides, and I won't say their names because they're young kids, but the host's daughters that we were playing cards with, the 2 sisters?
Yeah, them.
Did you see, because there were other young girls that was at the one table with the military couple that had been to Okinawa as well? Their daughters were doing the same thing that Council was doing. They sat down at their chairs, didn't move, and they were in their phone almost the entire time.
Well, yeah. So no, I definitely noticed that. Like, I'm not
think
going.
I think it's everything that you said earlier. It's what it is.
And this is, so it's related, but not. So one thing that I really didn't think about until we were at the family reunion meeting was that the families with kids weren't going to travel.
Because it's
So
expensive.
because it's expensive. So I think that's why we had a limited amount of kids. So we had a total of 6 minors, right? And it was like one who came from each household, and the only household that brought 2 was the one household that was in Pittsburgh. Everyone else, if they had a child, they only, like, it was only one child who came, so that contributed to the numbers, which I totally understand, and I'm not disputing that. But I think for me it goes back to, but we got to teach you how to socialize, right? Because this world, we are very AI heavy, we are very technology driven, but what do you do when technology fails, right? As a teacher, one thing that I plan for whenever I have, especially whenever I have a sub in the classroom, is I have a backup plan for if all of my technology is failing that day. That way my students can still do work. And I don't think we've done that with our kids, preparing them for, what do you do when you're sitting in an area and there's no technology? You're going to have some social skills. Here's how I prepare you for that. And I don't think we do that.
I'll raise my hand and say, I agree with you. I agree with you. You are coming at it from, you see more kids than I do on a daily basis because of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You've got those observations of how you're looking at what they're doing. I don't see it as much as you, right? So, and you've got different personalities to be able to measure this off of. Like you and I've talked in the past. When I came and did your mentoring young men's program, it wasn't just men that were there, but that's what the program's called.
The program's called.
The thing that stood out to me was this young scholar who came up to me, introduced herself to me.
She's an adult now, so you can say her name.
Extended her hand and greeted me within the first couple of minutes of me getting in there. She was the only one that did it. Mm-hmm. And I was so impressed by that. That right there, that simple thing stood out to where I told you immediately, I didn't know nothing about that young woman, but I said, she's going places.
And she did. She went to Yale on a full ride. That's my baby.
And it's just that social distinction of her doing that and me observing her do that to know that, hey, no matter what room she's in, she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. So I wouldn't be surprised to see her owning something, CEO of something, president of something or some things here within the next 10 years. You know how they have those Forbes lists, 30 under 30?
Oh, she's going to be on it.
She's going to be on it.
She is going to be on it. And I'm just like, honey, I need you to remember your business teacher, okay?
And don't be surprised if she's on the cover as well.
It's spam.
Yeah, we got some spam in the chat, but it is because I can hit block. And it's gone. Now, there was something else that I wanted to hit on before we move away from that with like how the kids are. It was interesting, and I'll say this. So again, the 2 daughters that were playing with us, the one that was on our team, like the next morning. She was
the younger one of the 2. Yeah.
Yeah, the younger one. So people were treating like family and things like that. She came up and hugged me one time. And I was like, hey, I'm like, that's your family, right?
My first time meeting her. Like, okay. I need you to know that that was my first time meeting her. That was my first time knowing of her existence. And that was something that I wanted you and Castle to understand. I didn't know everyone in that firm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I was going to get on that later. Yeah. So I was like surprised by that. I was taken aback by that because something that we talked about earlier is like, folks don't know me. They proxy know me through some of the stuff that's shared on social media, but they don't know me. So when she came up and hugged me, I was like, I can't go away because your folks don't know me like that.
I missed that.
She did. So
it's funny because when
and to just kind of close out my thought, and it's interesting that I even have to be mindful of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because how I grew up, like if you knew somebody and you knew somebody, coming up and hug or whatever, like that wasn't no thing. So it's juggling that. You got to be careful. yet also if I've blessed you, then then you should be all right. So I'm juggling that thought as well. Like we came up, I was like, hey.
But okay, so I look at that and I'm just like, number one, we always say, especially in Black families, that children of that age, they read spirits. So like they can tell if someone is stranger danger or if someone is good people's. Secondly, she was on our team and we have been joking her that whole night,
Yeah.
and everything like that. So I think there was that level of closeness too, that she could tell that we were okay, because she did come up to me and she gave me a hug. I think it was Saturday at the banquet. She came up and she gave me a hug, and it was so sweet, because I'm just like, I had never met her prior to that weekend. I had never known of her existence. And I say that with love. Like, so many people there, like we have a My Heritage tree where we keep all of our information and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
We have that, but I can just go and click and read somebody's name or read about someone's existence, but that doesn't mean I know them. And for her, I didn't know her. There were so many people at that reunion that I was just meeting for the first time, or this was my third time in life ever seeing them, because I saw them 2 years ago in Houston, and then I saw them 10 years ago in Baltimore. Or some people, the only relationship we have is via Facebook. Like there was one cousin who kept speaking to me, and she was speaking to me with familiarity. It's because she's friends with me on social media. And that's where a lot of the familiarity came, because they're friends with me on Facebook. And then they see my post about you, and they see my post about Castle and stuff like that. So it's like, I don't know you, but I know you. And that was something that Phoenix also said, that her wife had to adjust to that too, because her wife is coming from a small family, and you come around my family, and again, we have no titles like that. We don't have any of those separating titles. You're just your family.
Let's stay on that. That was
Okay.
actually a really good transition into where my mind was going with this. You are really being introduced to your father's side of the family. You've only recently been reintroduced to your dad as well in your life. How does it feel learning the people, learning that bloodline? Like, does it make you feel any type of way getting this knowledge now as an older person? Do you feel like you've missed out on anything by not having spent time with them growing up?
Yes and no. So I will say that because of some things I'm doing professionally, I feel like I'm like a fake historian. Like, I have to say fake historian because I've been blessed with the opportunity to meet and study with real historians, especially last week when I was in Alabama, or 2 weeks ago when I was in Alabama. I had the opportunity to be with real historians like Dr. Terry Ann Scott and Dr. Yahira Williams and Dr. Hassan Jeffries and Dr. Ivory Tolson and Dr. Ashley White. Like, I had
Good
the
job on the name
opportunity.
recall.
Look,
That's dope.
God is good. I had the opportunity to be around real historians. And Dr. Devin Gary, cannot forget Devin because she's awesome, had the opportunity to be around real historians. I would never, ever in a million years say that I am on their level. But I'm learning to love history and learning to love getting the answer to my question that always exists, which is why. Why has always been my favorite question. And through some of the research that I've been blessed to do recently, I'm learning how to love being a fake historian. And again, I want to respect them, so I have to say fake historian. So going to the family reunion and sitting there and taking in all of that, it's answering some of my why questions, and it's helping me to understand things better. Do I feel like I missed out on things? Yes. I think I told you one thing that stands out to me that I hate that I couldn't be at was my grandmother's funeral, my
Mhm.
dad's mom's funeral, because my maternal grandmother didn't like us. She didn't like me or my siblings. So that was that was the last grandparent who loved me. My maternal grandmother died in 97, 96 or 97. And she was my last surviving grandparent, but she didn't love me. So my paternal grandmother was the last grandparent who loved me. And she knew me when I was a baby, and I did not see her after my parents split up. So I wasn't at her funeral. So there is a part of me that will always ache that I was not able to say goodbye to that grandparent who loves me. A part of me will always ache. As far as everything else, I don't feel like I missed, like, I know I missed much, but my family doesn't make it seem as though I've missed much. They include me where they can. And, it does kind of feel bad because you get around family and they only have the same stories to tell of you because they don't have any other memories, which kind of sucks, but it doesn't make me feel bad. So the only thing that I feel like I missed was being at my grandmother's funeral. Other than that, whatever, I'm gonna create new memories with you now. Because now when I hang out with my first cousins, the only thing I think is don't get any chips from my cousin, from that one cousin.
Yes.
Because I saw what happened.
Yes, I'm aware of that story.
And then I have another cousin who my response to him is always going to be, but did you die? Because I know how I drive and now he knows how I drive. And that's always my question when I see him. But did you die? And then, I have these memories that I've now created with them. So I'm grateful to be in the space where I can connect and I can be with them. But no, I don't feel bad about the years that I missed. I'm just thankful for the years that I have.
All right, nice. Oh, pause for a second, because they ain't paying us for this, but the game hashtag cultures or hashtag culture.
Snap.
Buy that game, y'all. It is a great family gathering, family reunion, get together game. Or if it's just you and some peers and y'all are looking at wanting to play something to have some fun, it doesn't take a lot. All you need is the cards. The instructions are fairly easy and fun times can be had for sure.
I'm not saying that my family was cheating.
Oh, they were cheating.
But I am going to say that the other team
was cheating.
I'll say
it. I'll say it.
Oh, that was so funny because Phoenix and I'm calling out Phoenix tonight. Phoenix she was so upset. She was like, our team had the couples on it. And that's not fair because we could just make eye contact and be like, you remember what I said last night? And then bam, like you have the answer. And I'm not going to say that she's wrong.
She's not wrong.
However, we weren't cheating.
You weren't cheating.
We weren't cheating.
Which is good.
They had a brother and sister on their team. Whatever. Like, that's a longer relationship. They got 50 years of knowing each other. So no, there are going to be levels of intricacy that we don't understand. No.
Edward, if you're still watching, we have a question. And to all of our white audience out there.
Oh my God.
So this is an engagement question. So for those of y'all that are listening, I'm going to ask, if you are Black and know what a family reunion is and do it, put a 1 in the chat. If you are white and have family reunions, put a 2 in the chat. And the reason why we ask this is quite simple. I'm familiar with the family reunion, and if you kind of want to break it down and look at it because of how our past is in the United States, I don't know of other cultures that do this the way that Black American families do family reunions, right? There's been a lot of lost records, heritage things that'll be hard to trace. Mm-hmm. So without a true historian specific to your family, it can be difficult to know how far your lineage goes back.
Yeah.
But in the U.S., families have started to place importance on that. We do a version of a family reunion. The last time that we had one on my dad's side of the family, I think was early 2010s-ish. And on my mom's side of the family, I couldn't tell you, but we do. We do a family feast the week before Thanksgiving, in which we navigate and go to the oldest person alive's city so that they can come, and we invite all of the families. And on my mom's side of the family, we have done a good job of maintaining that. Even post-COVID, we've brought it back up, and I'm from a family where the mask and social distancing. Some of them, it's still a thing for them.
Yeah.
But we do a good job of that. And as your family was showing that lineage, right? Each line and where they're from and stuff, it really got me to thinking, I need to know that. I want to know that information. What's funny is, as I've told people this, and some people are saying, well, you can't trust the records and the data that's given. I'm like, well, what can I trust then? Right? Absent of a historian, I'm a man of science. Like, I can believe in the science and what does the science say. And if I can do stuff like ancestry.com or 23andMe and get the data that I can get sourced, I'm not saying I'm going to trust it blindly 100%, but it's a starting point. It's absent of, like I said, a family historian. We don't have books where we can go and turn pages and see those records. Y'all have an online database, which I think is dope, that y'all are building on that stuff and looking through newspapers of things that your ancestors and family has done. And I think that stuff's great. You're also in an interesting position because your mother is straight up Jamaican and your dad is straight up a Black American, African American, whatever, all these terms. He's from here and he Black. So, so for you, navigating your family roots will always be interesting because, for the most part, you have your family tree that splits and stuff from here, but you would have to go to Jamaica to really get the bones of your Jamaican roots and heritage. And do you know if they're good about keeping those family records here? And before you even answer that, in my mind, Jamaica's wild, and you might be kissing your own cousin in Jamaica and don't know it. So answer the question.
So I will, in order to answer the question, I'll start with this. My we as a culture we take advantage of the technology. We take advantage, we take for granted the technology that we have. So in olden days, during the enslavement period, we did not know how to read and we did not know how to write. So all we did was tell stories to one another. We passed down things by word of mouth from generation to generation, and that's how stories stayed alive. So, the reason why we have Negro spirituals and stuff like that is because that's how people told stories. Like, even the origin of cornrows, of how they were used to help people navigate how to escape enslavement, how people use, follow the drinking gourd, songs that were created to help people navigate. They were all stories to tell, right? And they would pass down from generation to generation to generation. And somewhere over the period of time, as technology advanced, the storytelling decreased. And if you didn't have that ancestor, that elder person in your family who would sit and continue to pass down these stories and dedicate time with the youngin to say, I am going to tell you now the history of your family, then it got lost in the sauce, right? So, yes, my family uses myheritage.com to be able to keep track of stuff, but that's not where they're getting the history from. They're getting the history from what has been passed down from generation to generation. And you heard my cousin say that the reason why she gave me access to the website and, was giving people different bits of everything is so that this generation, my generation, could start taking over and doing these things. We have to get in the habit of passing down. So, on my dad's side, that's what you see. You see a pass down of that information. And if you notice, it's my paternal side of the family, but it's my dad's maternal side of the family. I don't know anything about the earlies. Like, the reunion that we went to was for the Bookman Hughes Long, which was my paternal grandmother's side of the family, not my paternal grandfather's side of the family. I know nothing about them. Like, I know I'm friends with a couple of people on Facebook, but I don't know anything about them. So there's that. And then on my mom's side of the family,
the Jamaicans.
So for me, I always distinguish it between the Jamaicans and the Americans to distinguish who was side I'm talking about. I run into roadblocks with the Jamaicans because my mom didn't know who her father was. So I'm going to run into a lot of roadblocks. My mom doesn't like she and the brother who was right after her, he did end up passing away. Like they had the same father, but she didn't know him. She didn't grow up with him. She didn't know anything about him. So that does put me in a bind of trying to understand the maternal side of my family. My maternal grandmother, I know who she is. Like I know her side of the family, like for the most part, but I don't know that. So like that does put me in a little bit of a pickle. And when Ancestry and me and all those other things first started coming out, they were geared more towards American. Well, they were geared more towards the maternal side of your family and definitely more American based.
Okay.
I don't know how many of my Jamaican kinfolk have done that. So like I've never done an ancestry kit or anything like that because once my cousin started doing them, I was like, oh well, I don't need to. I can just go find out from them, like where my where my lineage comes from. Or like I think my brother did one, and I was like, bet what y'all say? Take out some of the white because his mom was white. Take out some of the white. Oh, that's me too. Like so, I never did one. I never did one. I should do one, but no, I never did one.
I think that the results can be interesting. The results from 23andMe were similar to the ones from Ancestry.com. To be honest with you, I haven't gone and took either one of my phones and side by side them, right? But they show like West Africa, some of the Southern European, like that South Central tip of Eastern. Yes.
Okay.
And like I said, I find that stuff fascinating. Like, I think it would be dope when we make that trip to West Africa to go.
Y'all saw how he spoke that into existence, right? When we make that trip to West Africa.
When we make that trip to West Africa, if I come off the airplane and I see somebody that look like me, brother, I shouldn't have done that. My bad. My bad. Hey, do I got any princes or kings in these West African countries where we can move to the palace? It was palace and castle.
All rolled into
to where we could move in, get me one of those. They were suits. I was gonna say dashikis and robes.
Oh my gosh!
Like, let me stop while I'm ahead.
Oh my
Let me stop while I'm. Hey, I'll show up. Right, I'll get off the plane already wearing my crown.
Y'all know it's not an episode if his crown don't make it out of hiding.
They won't get episode. Instead of a gun and a knife, they'll give me one of those bamboo shoots and tell me that if I get in trouble, just all right. Let me stop before we get canceled.
Somebody has watched way too much Coming to America.
Before we get
way too much Coming to America.
We ain't even monetized yet. We might not be after this episode.
So how can we relate all this family reunion stuff to dating and, being with a person?
I like that we shared our experiences because when couples and people are getting together, if you are from a family that has family reunions like that or family gatherings, if you're somebody that, like me, I feel as though I'm water. I can get in, and if a family's closed off, snootish or whatever, I can still show up. I can have a good time because I can be a great time party of one. But that's the way that I am.
Yeah.
Or if it's a family like how it was for the Bookman Long Hughes.
Hughes Long. Yeah.
Hughes Long, BHL. Then, hey, if they want to invite me and treat me like family and things like that, I'm all for it. I would say if you know, like your cousin, our cousin Phoenix, if you know that the person that you're dating just got married to in a long-term relationship with, whatever, it's their first time coming into something and they might be reserved a bit or whatnot, do everything you can to prep them. Don't just be like, well, I don't know how this is gonna be, and I ain't gonna say nothing. I'll say just kind of give a little bit of a heads up. Say, heads up, my family gonna love on you, or heads up, my family gonna think that because you got all these tattoos, they might treat you a certain kind of way. So just whatever, right? And give that person a heads up on how they are. Like, I'm just gonna say, to if some of your family is watching, I asked for some intel just to know who I'm talking to, as well as so I don't say anything out of line, crazy, sideways, stupid, something that I might throw out as a joke or whatever, meaning it for it to be a joke, but it might be considered rude because of this person's background or whatever.
And I feel like you asked, but I also disclosed things. Like, I remember when you met my mom and my sister for the first time, I was like, look, don't be offended. My mom don't talk to nobody. My mom don't like nobody. She don't really say nothing to nobody. Don't be offended. She's a
But
sweetheart,
yes,
but she don't talk to nobody.
exactly. And I said, I bet, but I know her mom's cool because from time to time she'll throw some mangoes my way. She cooks like she feeding a whole army and will slide me some food without me even asking, which is kind of dope because when I found out that your mom does cook, I was gonna be like, so Miss Early,
Oh my gosh, not this early.
when I come through from time to time, go ahead and make me a little plate, ma'am, so I can take it home with me, and I'd appreciate it. But now I only have to do that because you're right. Your mom can let your mom's funny. She has a different kind of humor. Your mom to me is hilarious when she wants to be, and it's crazy.
But she doesn't start off that way.
No,
like
nah.
you definitely have to get to know her. My sister and I, we run off of sarcasm, so that's something to know and expect with us. But I did give you that. I was like, the two sides of my family are very different. One is very standoffish initially, and they'll eventually change. The other one can't spell standoffish. Like, they just, you're here. Like, you are family instantly. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
So let's ask and answer this question. Would you recommend that if a couple had the opportunity to take their significant other to a family reunion early on, that they should do it?
100%. However, I do think you have to ask those questions, like, tell me a little bit, like, what should I expect, and stuff like that. And then I think that this is just a girl thing. How many other women have you brought to meet your family?
That's a good question.
And so, like, the rationale behind that is, are you just considered the fling of the year, fling of the event? Or is this something substantial? Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
Is this a big thing? Because family is going to, your family already knows, and like, that'll dictate how they treat that person who's attending. And honestly, I think that's the same thing to ask for guys. Like, I think a guy should ask that too. Like, how many other men have you brought to meet your family, and like, what's the extent of this? Like, are they looking at me as a flavor of the month type thing? Because that should dictate and guide how you move as well.
That's fair. That is 100% fair. And I didn't even think about that until you just said it just now. But I think that can be important and vital, is to ask that question, right? Or are you somebody, let's say you met somebody, y'all are under 1 year, but this is something that your family does every 2 years. So now you're coming up on that event. Do you even broach asking the person if you're over 6 months but under a year together? Or do you skip out on that, not knowing, all right, yeah, we're new, but
here's my outlook on that. Do you think that you're going to be with this person forever? Whether it's marriage or a lifetime partnership, do you think you're going to be with this person forever? Because if you do, then bring that person. And the reason why I say that is because this is an important thing to you. And if this person is important to you, you should bring them.
Because otherwise you'd have to wait until that next go round.
Exactly.
And who knows if you can make that next go round because of the logistics of everything. Like, let's say if the opportunity can be that the significant other can make it, right? But y'all are just getting to know each other. Like I'll say this. Ooh, let me be clear about this. When you and I first got together, you had gone to the one in Texas before you and I got to know each other, right? But it was that same year. I don't know if asked if I would have been comfortable year one, not because of you and I would have just rather not shown up then, but given us a little bit more time to marinate before showing up. And I think I had an understanding of like that side of the family and how much you talked about them early on to know that it was going to be real important. So I might have politely declined early to give us a little bit more time to marinate. That's the way that I think about it. And I don't know, I'm not saying that that's the right move, but that's, I think, the way my mind would have worked on that.
So there's some comments that I'd love for you to check out. And while you're pulling, I don't know where the comments are, but while you're pulling that up, I'll say this. For me, you are the only man that I have brought to a family reunion because you are important to me. Like, I see me spending the rest of my life with you. And because I see me spending the rest of my life with you, I'm like, I want you in those rooms and in those spaces with my family to be able to meet them, to be able to talk to them and just like hear from them and, you know, just sit down and shoot the breeze like we did. Like, that was important for me to have you there because that is how I see you. If we had, so let's say my family reunion had been later and our family reunion was like December 22 and we had just gotten together. Yeah, no, I can understand if you didn't come. Like, I could have understood if you didn't come to that. But like if it had been like last summer, nah, I'd expected you to be there, sir. Like right there.
Yeah, well, you and I were really solid, like really, really
Yeah.
locked in around summer of last year. The first couple of months, we were still filling each other out.
You're still getting to know each other.
Yes.
You had to fully fall in love with me.
That's why you're joking. That is also the truth. Like, while you're joking, that is really accurate. You were into me earlier than when I was into you.
Because I know what I want.
And that's hilarious and true at the same time as well. Now, let's acknowledge some of these comments, and I apologize for not seeing them earlier. First of all, we worldwide. Shout out to Virgil Kane. Says, greetings from Manchester, England. Hey, let me give you a salute for tuning in from Manchester, England. That's dope. I appreciate you tuning in, Virgil. Thanks for commenting. We got Miss She Said in the building, said, hey fam, what up? Hey, Miss She Said, question. How often do you or your spouse have a family reunion? And when's the last time that you've been to one? Miss She Said, seems like somebody that would attend family reunions.
Yeah.
So, very curious about that one. Let's see, Virgil said, and I'm going to have to put this up on the screen and then stand up and read this one. So, when I stayed in New York, I had the misfortune of staying at the Jane Hotel in Greenwich Village. All right. I'm going to say that this is spam.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, this is the whole story.
Because I can't see all of it. Okay. So I'm going to trust you.
It said, apart from bed bugs, it was a nice room, but the heat was unbearable. Okay. Maybe no, I don't think it's spam. I think he's talking about a visit to the U.S., which it doesn't seem like it was a pleasant experience.
In all fairness, the last time I stayed in New York, it wasn't a pleasant experience.
Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Anywho, I slipped into the arms of Morpheus. Giant critter. I sustained 2 broken legs. The FDNYC were amazing, but I nearly fell off the stretcher because they were laughing too hard. I'm still convinced that they didn't believe me. Just shows that you never know what's around the corner. I dread to think of what the creature's intentions were. My psychiatrist didn't believe me and sanctioned me to a mental health act, under a mental health act. I'm still in maximum security, padded cell. Any thoughts? Well, that's a whole interesting story.
Yeah.
I am going to take you for your word for it and offer this. If that was your experience and it was your first time to New York, you visited the wrong city. I would say don't come to the US and come to New York as the first place that you visit. I get that they got the Statue of Liberty. I get that it's one of the international airports and destination, all of that stuff. Next time, come to DC.
Because that's better?
Not really. Not really. Or start out, well, I mean, if you're coming from England and you're looking at East Coast places, it's Florida, DC, or New York. You get better weather in Florida, but you also got Florida, which is home of the Florida man. So
I had some people who just found out what that meant the other day.
Start off in California. That's all I've got for that. But I appreciate you sharing your story with us. I don't really know where else to go with that. Now, Virgil, have you been to a family reunion? Let us know. Put a 2 in the chat if you have attended a family. Do you know what a family reunion is? They may not have family reunions overseas in England.
They may not.
Or they may not know, like they might call it something else. Matter of fact, let's break it down real quick before we end our live stream. Michelle, what is a family reunion?
A family reunion is a gathering of people who are joined together, typically by blood, to be able to celebrate, connect, go through their lineage, and also just enjoy the company of one another. And normally there's food involved. If you're talking about Black people,
there's
food involved.
There's normally food involved. There's normally music, and there's normally games of some sort. Mm-hmm. And I like the connectivity that was had at the all-white banquet, which we got some pictures on our social media stuff as well. So if you're not following us on Instagram, TikTok, why not? There's a link in the description that has a Linktree that has all of our social media. But we got some pretty cool pictures. The one part that stood out when we were dressed in the all-white is everybody that saw us was like, y'all look great, right?
Because we did.
And I want to give a shout out to, there was a couple that when we left the all-white banquet, we made a stop someplace else. Yeah. And on our way back to the car, this couple was walking up and this lady put herself in the path of Michelle because Michelle was taking in the sights and sounds of downtown Pittsburgh. And this lady who had a very nice, cool, shaved mohawk, I thought that was real stylish. And I wish I would have complimented her on her mohawk. Stopped Michelle and was like, you look fantastic. And I mean, literally, we're walking. Michelle, she's here. She goes, boom, and puts herself in the path and makes that very nice, genuine compliment to Michelle. Because look, she was looking great, but that's besides the point. The fact that somebody else took the time, that was a stranger, and offered her that compliment, I thought was fantastic. So if that person watches the King and Me show, because we are worldwide now.
Worldwide.
And you happen to see this, we said thank you in the moment, but you have no idea how much it made my day. I can't speak for you and to say that it made your day, but it definitely made my day to know that there are nice people out there that'll genuinely compliment somebody. I might have surprised you because we walked out of the mall and this lady with this really big curly hair comes out of a taxi and I just said, hey, love your hair or something.
Yeah, something to that effect.
Something like that. And I don't think she heard me at first or knew that I was talking to her because there was a bit of a delay. And then she said, oh, thank you. Mm-hmm. And walked inside, right? And I was with you and Castle, but I'm going to tell you why I did it. A, I did like her hair. But B, I wanted to show Castle that it's okay complimenting a stranger because Castle had received several compliments about her hairstyle and things from your family while she was there, but also other people, as we were walking, were like, "Love your hair."
Yeah, she did get that. Yeah.
You know, and Castle in the past has done that. She has saw a shirt or a jacket or something stylish that she liked from somebody, and she would give them a compliment, which is hard for her because of her stutter. So when she does it, it means something to me to know that she overcame a little bit of anxiety that she gets with sometimes speaking just to compliment somebody. So,
respect.
All in all, that was your family reunion. The next one from that specific family is 2 years from this year. I don't know of any family reunions on my side that you're going to have the opportunity to attend. The Smith family feast is going to be this year. We're not going to have the ability or the time to go, which is unfortunate. Maybe
they can link up with us when we go down in December.
I wasn't thinking that, but that's an option.
Okay.
That's an option. We are going to be going to Alabama together, and we should have the time to at least get together with a good bit of my maternal side of the family.
Yeah, like that Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. People can link up with us.
That's there, absolutely, and make something happen with that. But next year's family feast, the only thing that I have planned on the docket for 2025 that's just time consuming and money consuming is our trip overseas. Me, Michelle, and Castle are taking a trip overseas. And for the most part, that's budgeted and planned for. But there's a lot that's going to be happening in 2025 as well that it just takes time and money to do. And we're looking to ensure that we're doing the right things, being good stewards of following a good budget and all of that stuff that a good, healthy relationship should do. Virgil said, get a room. I think Virgil's real. I don't think Virgil's fake. Virgil, you have proven to me that you're real. You still didn't answer my question, though. Do you know what a family reunion is? I need a yes or no answer specifically before I believe if you real or if you're AI. I think Virgil could be AI too. AI is getting a whole lot better. Yeah. Hey, if we got AI followers, as long as they hit the like button and comment, I'll be okay with it. So that's today's episode. Next week, we'll be live. I'll be 40.
Yes.
I don't know what we're talking about yet.
That's fine.
But we always find something to talk about. Do you have anything that you may have missed or anything that you want to add before we close out today's show?
Nothing major. I think, I think all is well. I enjoyed having you. Thank you so much for coming. You family now, like that's just it. There's no take backsies in my family. My family is very much, if you are a family, then you are a family, and there's nothing about it. Like for them, there's no unity stronger. It's not blood that unites us. So that's how they believe things. So you in there like swimwear. You may get calls to things before I do, just cause.
Good deal. Good deal. Still not sure. Still not sure, Virgil. Hey, look, I'm just messing. I always like to crack jokes and things from time to time as well. So that's our show for today. Be sure to tune in on all of the other social media platforms as well, as we sometimes, not only do we post clips from our live streams, but we also post stuff that comes up throughout, maybe conversations, things that we observe, pictures that we've taken that we will put up in some other form or media or whatnot. So if you're not following us on any of our other social medias, again, link is in the description to Linktree that has our Instagram, that has our TikTok, where we do post randomly and exclusively as things come up.
Exactly. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in tonight.
You coming to me.
I'm coming to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Bring them lips, girl, because we close out our show a certain way.
Every single time.
Bye, y'all. Mwah.
Bye.
See ya. And a 1.